Hi, I'm Susie Garden, and this is the Ageless and Awesome podcast. I'm an age-defying naturopath and clinical nutritionist, and I'm here to bust myths around women's health and aging so that you can be ageless and awesome in your 40s, 50s, and beyond. The Ageless and Awesome podcast is dedicated to helping women through perimenopause and menopause with great health, a positive mindset, and outrageous confidence. Hit subscribe or follow now, and let's get started. Hello, gorgeous one, and welcome to this week's episode of the Ageless and Awesome podcast. Well, you've been asking for it. I have been resisting this topic, but this week I'm going to talk about weight loss injections. As a natural health practitioner that specializes in healthy, sustainable weight loss, amongst a few other things, this is a question I get a lot, and I have resisted, and I do have to put a little caveat here. I am not an expert. And I am only going to talk about these injections in the context of weight loss and nothing else. And this is not medical advice in the slightest. This is purely for education and entertainment purposes. So if you are considering weight loss injections, please talk to your medical practitioner about that. The information I'm providing today is purely things that I have read in the literature and is by no means medical advice. All right, I think I've made that clear. All right, so let's get into it. Weight loss injections. It's probably highly unlikely that you've never heard of this. It's been massive in the press, probably for, at least 12, 18 months, maybe longer. Certainly has gathered a lot of press because, of course, of loads of celebrities and famous people using these products for weight loss, when in fact they were developed more so for diabetes. This happens a lot in pharmaceuticals, as many of you know. That's my background. Viagra, for example, was never intended to be for erectile dysfunction. Surprisingly, Viagra was actually for blood pressure control. And when they did the studies, because when you do studies in pharmaceuticals, they're very, very tightly controlled. And one of the aspects that they use to try and, make sure that people are taking their drugs every day is that they count the pills. And they found that when they were men were bringing the pills back in, they did not want to give them back. And this was kind of unusual. Normally, it's just not a big deal. And when they questioned them further, they started realizing that men were having the side effects of erections, and they wanted that. And so the company realized, hang on, we got something else going on here. And there's been a little bit of a similar thing going on with these weight loss injections, in that they were originally investigated and developed for diabetes, but they always knew that there would be some sort of weight loss that would probably happen because of the nature of how these drugs act in the body. So let's, talk a little bit about that. So some of you might have heard that these are called GLP-1 receptor agonists. And what that means, I know that sounds like a crazy kind of term, but what that means is it actually just mimics a hormone that regulates hunger in our bodies. So it's essentially an appetite suppressant. That's really the quick and dirty with these weight loss injections, is they suppress the appetite, which makes it way easier to resist temptation with food. And the interesting thing is, when we look at the weight loss trials, because this drug has been trialed for diabetes specifically, but also specifically for weight loss as well. And these drugs aren't new, by the way. I think it's around 2010 when some of these first came onto the market. So they've been around for a while, but the weight loss stuff I think is more new in terms of they did studies that looked at higher dosages to get those weight losses, because when they did the original studies for diabetes, the weight loss wasn't that remarkable. So it's an appetite suppressant. But the interesting thing is with the studies certainly that I read, all of the trials were done with the drug plus calorie controlled diet and exercise. Okay. I didn't have an extensive look, but I didn't find trials that only looked at the impact of the drug without those other elements of dietary control and exercise going on at the same time. So I think that's really important, because I think some people are looking at these weight loss injections and are thinking, oh, all I need to do is inject and all of my problems with weight are going to be over. And it's not actually the case, because you do need to look at what you're eating. Because the thing is, if you are under the influence, say for example, I don't know if I can use that word, I guess, of an appetite suppressant, that's great, particularly if you are in that category of having a BMI over 30. We know there are a lot of health conditions that happen when we're carrying extra weight. So if you can do something to get your BMI under 30, and I know I don't like to use BMI that much. It's just really an indicator. But just for the purposes of today, I'm going to use it. So to get a BMI under 30, to help you get healthy and get your health back is a fantastic thing. And I should just put in, I guess, my position on them overall is I'm not against them by any means. I think if you're someone that really needs that kickstart, if you really need to get your weight under control, for example, if you have a surgery coming up, if you've been diagnosed with a medical condition that means that weight loss will really dramatically enhance your health outcomes, I think it's great to have this option. And you may not hear too many naturopaths saying that, but I guess considering my background, I can see both sides of pharmaceutical medicine and natural medicine. I think there is absolutely a place for this. Having said that, I do have some other thoughts. So just talking about the trials, I wanted to put the weight loss that you can get with these drugs into perspective, because I think there may be a thought that you can get incredible amounts of weight loss when, in fact, from what I've read, the weight loss is okay. It's not that dramatic. After 56 weeks, so after, 13 months, over a year, when in one of the major trials that was done, the mean weight loss was 8.4 kilos. 8.4 kilos. Now, the standard deviation was 7.3. So therefore, there was a range of weight loss. Some people only lost 1.1 kilos after injecting themselves every single day for 56 weeks. 1.1 kilos. And some lost, the maximum was 15.7 after 13 months injecting every day and having a calorie controlled diet and doing exercise. People on the placebo, because this was a placebo controlled trial, it was a 2.8 kilo weight loss plus or minus 6.5. So that's, some people actually put on weight, a weight gain of say 3.7 kilos, and some people lost 9.3 kilos just being on the placebo. So that's something to keep in mind, is that it's not, we're not seeing enormous weight loss. And the average weight of the people in this particular trial was just over 100 kilos. So it was a pretty significant amount of weight that these people wanted to lose. 63% lost at least 5% of their body weight. 33% lost more than 10% of their body weight. And after that, they also continued. So after this 56 weeks, they continued and looked at re-randomizing them. And so some people went off that drug and were on the placebo, and they followed them up for about 12 weeks. And they found that after they ceased that drug, 2.9% weight gain in 12 weeks. So let me say that a little bit better. There was a mean weight regain of 2.9% that occurred in the group that switched from the drug to placebo. But the mean weight loss remained greater than that was achieved with placebo. So I think it's important to have that balance there. So, and this is what clients who have been on that weight loss drugs or are currently on them have said to me, is that when they stop taking it, the weight does come back on. Now, and this is the thing, as I just mentioned, I have some clients that have come to me after being on those weight loss injections to do the Glow protocol with me because they need further support with regard to their food choices and getting personalized nutrition. So it is not the be all and end all. And from a price point of view, I obviously haven't looked up all of the prices that are available, but there was one that I looked at and it was about $360 for 24 days. And you're injecting yourself in that particular program every single day. So it's quite a lot. It's quite a lot. And there's been a number of, actually, I did have one client that said that it actually did stop working for her. She got to a point and it stopped working. And to be honest, when I looked at the trials and looked at the tables, I noticed that after about, I think it was a week 40 or 45, that there was a plateau of the weight. So I think that it does perhaps have some limitations as to how much weight you can expect to lose on those weight loss drugs. Now, and again, I am no expert at this. This is just from the reading that I have done, which some might say has been relatively limited. I have not done an extensive database search for this podcast today. So that, I think, is given a very brief overview from an efficacy point of view in the weight loss indication. They do appear to be relatively safe. There have been a number of people that have stopped taking them because of the side effects, which are mainly gastrointestinal. And in one study I looked at, they were actually looking at, is it the gastrointestinal side effects that are causing the weight loss? Or at least contributing to a point because of the diarrhea or the nausea, meaning that people are either not able to eat that much because they're feeling so sick, or the diarrhea means that they're just losing all of their nutrients out of their body. So that was what I wanted to touch on next, is the actual nutrition aspect of it. Because obviously, if you have a situation where you have an appetite suppressant on board, which is there for a specific reason, for a specific objective, which is weight loss, then you have to make sure that the food that you are actually eating is of the highest nutritional value. And if you do have other issues going on in your body, such as gut health issues, inflammation, etc., anything that's going to slow down or prevent the absorption of the nutrients in your food, then you can risk some nutrient deficiencies. And we see this a lot in the weight loss surgery, where people have part of their stomach removed or a bypass or whatever it is, whatever type of weight loss surgery they're having, is that there can be some really significant and severe nutrient deficiencies that happen if the food is not ideal. And also, a lot of these people are advised to take significant supplementation to make sure that they're getting everything that they need. So this is not a situation with these weight loss drugs or with surgery that you can just eat whatever you like and not think about it. You actually have to probably think about it a little more because of your appetite. In both of these instances, whether it's weight loss surgery or the injections, your appetite is suppressed. So if you're limited in what you're going to be eating in terms of volume over the day, you need to make sure that you're having really beautifully nutrient dense foods as part of your food choices. And just remember that with the weight loss injections, the results were gotten from not only the injection, but the calorie control diet and the exercise part of it. So it was that holistic requirement. You're not going to get that weight loss just by doing the injection, because as we saw, some people after 56 weeks of injecting themselves every day with this drug only lost 1.1 kilos. And just to give you some perspective on that, in the GLOW protocol, probably in 12 weeks, what I would normally expect someone to achieve, and again, this will differ from person to person depending on what else is going on in their bodies, but around 12 to 15 kilos is not uncommon at all. And if people work with me for 6 months, we're looking at sort of 20 to 25 kilos of weight loss in that time. So when you consider that after 56 weeks with weight loss drugs, we're looking at a mean of 8.4 kilos, I'd be really wondering if that's worth the money. As I said, obviously, I think from a short-term perspective, they're fantastic in what they can achieve for someone who perhaps just cannot achieve it from a mindset, a willpower, whatever you want to call it, perspective. And if you did need to drop 10 kilos before getting some surgery done, it's the main example I can think of, then why not? But if you're doing it for a long-term weight loss goal, I think you'd probably just want to reconsider or consider doing both the weight loss injections and working with somebody who can really help you reach your weight loss goal, who can tell you the exact foods to eat, what the portion sizes are, etc. Because this is really going to be important from a long-term health, and to make sure you're getting all of the nutrients that you need to get for your body to work really, really well. And particularly because a lot of the women or people, but let's say women who are taking these injections are generally going to be perimenopausal, and you just want to make sure you're getting enough nutrients to really support your hormone balance, particularly during this time. So I hope this has been helpful. I would be really interested in your feedback. If you want me to get an expert in this area on, more than happy to do that if this is of interest. If you couldn't care less, then let me know that too, because this really helps guide what I'm choosing to present to you on the podcast. And you can do this by just DM me at Susie Garden Wellness, or you can, if you're on Spotify, you can message me through the podcast. Have an awesome week, and I will see you on Thursday with Q&A. Thanks so much for joining me today on the Ageless and Awesome podcast. If you liked today's episode, please make sure you click the little plus button if you're on Apple Podcasts, or the follow button if you're on Spotify, so that you can get each new episode delivered to you every single week. If you like free stuff, and who doesn't, then head over to susiegarden.com and grab my 8 essential age-defying secrets every woman over 40 should know right now. Or if you'd like to continue the discussion, head over to Instagram and DM me at Susie Garden Wellness. I'd love to connect with you.